sisters went out walking just the other day. They saw a young maid crying. Oh, she was a mess, oy vey. She'd spun a big old fib. We had time to listen. Hey, 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 hey. Spin, 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 spin. Spin, 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 spin. Spin, 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 spin. Spin, 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 spin.
Hello, I'm Graham Tink. They call me Graham Tink because I'm the original reference model for Tinkerbell for the Walt Disney movie Peter Pan. Oh, it is such fun to be able to say that. And our story is about a very lazy girl and 3 very odd-looking tiny ladies and their spinning wheel who help her become a princess. A very long time ago, in a country named Bumbledom, lived a foolish and a very lazy girl named Prunelia. Prunelia's mother was the head gardener to the queen for the royal tea garden, and she worked very hard from morning till night. Then she groomed her pansies, her petunias, and her poppies, but it was hard work. Oh, I am so tired of planting and potting and pulling caterpillars all by myself. She looked in the direction of her daughter, hoping for help, but as I told you, Prunelia was very lazy and she refused to help. She said, I, Prunelia, am much too special for work of any sort. Prunelia, at least pot the purple iris. That's too messy. Well, then soak the petunias. It's too hot to work. Look, I need some help here. Will you spray the plum tree? Oh, that's so sticky. What were they going to do with this girl, Prunelia?
It seems she didn't like to work, no matter what it was. Now her work was bigger than before.
Now the fussy queen of Bumbledon had ordered that all the royal bouquets of flowers that graced the palace each day must have a royal yarn tied round it. Now you understand that someone had to take the flax and spin it into yarn. And the lazy Prunelia got the assignment. Do you think she worked at it? No. She complained and found every excuse not to work at spinning the yarn. Oh, I am so bored with this. I am so tired. I think I'll have a headache. You know she didn't even care if her mother ran out of royal yarn. One day, Prunelia stumbled into a tempest in the tea garden. What is going on? Why is everybody running around? The queen has decided to have a party for her friends. And at the last minute, she wanted flowers on all the tables in the gardens and in the palace. And if we don't finish the task, we're liable to end up in the queen's prison. Just then, the royal footsteps were heard as the workers bundled up the last bouquet, but there was no royal yarn to tie round it. Well, Prunelia's mother begged her to get to the spinning wheel and spin just a bit of yarn. Oh, you're always asking me to do something. Just leave me alone, she wailed. And just then, the queen and her very, very very shy son, the prince, entered. "What was that noise? What is going on around here?" Everyone was deathly silent until Prunellia's mother slowly stepped forward. Fearing punishment for her daughter, she thought she would make up some kind of explanation. That was my daughter, Prunelia, Your Majesty, and she was crying because she loves to work so much. She loves to spin, 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 and I'm so poor. I don't have any flax for her, and Prunellia's mother trembled, waiting for the queen to speak. "Just between you and me, the queen was thrilled at this report. You see, she had been searching for a hard-working lady to become the bride of her very, very shy prince. Alas, Prince Jolie did not have the courage to go and find a bride of his own. So when the queen spoke, she smiled. "Oh, I just love hearing about hard-working ladies, and I adore the sound of spinning wheels humming, humming, humming. My dear woman, let me have your daughter. I have all the flax in the world, and Prunelia can spin night and day if she likes." Later, the queen took Prunelia to a tower room in the castle. And there were 3 rooms filled with royal flax from ceiling to floor, ready to be spun, all in rainbow colors. Prunelia was stunned at the sight. "Oh, what gorgeous colors for the bouquets! Spin all of this into fine yarn, and you may marry my son. I'll be back in 3 days. Enjoy your work, I know you will." What did the queen say? Prunelia could marry Prince Zoli? Well, Prunelia almost fainted with joy, and when the queen left, she danced around the room. But she started thinking, "Oh, Queenie wouldn't really want me to do all this work, for I am to be a princess. Oh, I know, this is a teensy test." But what if it isn't a teensy test? I can't possibly spin all this flax in 300 years. So the next 3 days were spent with Prunelia daydreaming about her royal life and crying over all the work that she did not want to do. The 3rd day, the queen returned and saw that nothing had been done. "What is the meaning of this?" she said. And Prunelia thought quickly and said, "Oh, I'm homesick, Your Majesty. I couldn't possibly spin when I was missing my family." The queen said, "Enough of this. Tomorrow I expect you to finish all of your work." The door slammed as the queen left, and the click of the key was heard in the lock. Oh, poor Prunella, she wished that she were back in the royal tea garden. The window. She rushed to the window. Maybe she could escape. But as she looked out, she saw 3 strange-looking, tiny women walking up the road. One of them had a long, flat foot, and one of them had a tongue so long it was hanging out of her mouth. And the other one had a thumb that was humongous. The one that had the big foot called up, "You look like you have a problem, my dear." Well, Prunella sobbed out the whole story. And the woman who had the tongue hanging out said, My sisters want you to stop your fretting. And the third said, we just love to spin and spin and spin. Oh, Prunelia was saved. But they only agreed to help her if she promised to invite us to the wedding. And you must be proud of us and introduce us as your aunts. And you must be very proud and not be ashamed of us and let us sit at your table. Huh? Oh, yes, said Prunelia. I promise. I agree with all my heart. But could you hurry up? There's a lot of work to do.
Spin, 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 spin. Spin with your big old foot, sister. Spin with your big old thumb. Just lick that string and spin, spin, spin. Spin with your big old foot, sister. Spin with your big old thumb. Just lick that string and spin, spin, spin.
The three little sisters clambered up the trellis and came in through the window. Now Everleth drew the thread and trod the spinning wheel with her big foot. Now Overleth wetted the flax with her big tongue, and Underleth wound the thread around her humongous thumb, and every so often would hit the table, and out would come a skein of yarn spun perfectly that fell to the floor. And they worked and worked, and soon there were just tons of yarn, royal yarn, all different colors, just tons of it in the 3 rooms. But before they started, they had asked Prunelia if she would do some spinning and help them because it was a huge job. Oh, no, I don't think so. If there is anything that I hate worse than gardening, it's spinning. And I need time to contemplate being Princess Prunelia. She fell fast asleep, and all through the night and the next day the 3 sisters spun while she slept. And when they had finished, they stepped away quietly so as not to wake her. But as Underleth was going through the window, she was heard to whisper to herself, I hope she remembers her promise to us. The next day the queen appeared, and Prunelia showed her that all the flax had been spun. Oh, she took all the credit, of course. Oh, my dear, the colors just look wonderful, and you were so fast and so quick. Well, I just love to work so hard, Your Majesty, and nothing makes me happier than to spin, spin, spin. The only thing that Prunelia liked to spin were her fibs, and she kept right on spinning her fibs, hoping that she could win Her Majesty's good favor. And you know what? She succeeded. The queen was absolutely delighted. She couldn't have been happier. Well, Prunella, my dear, I bestow upon you the honor of marrying my son, Prince Zoli. And at that moment, the prince peeked into the room, and he saw Prunelia, and he seemed pleased. He almost got enough courage to smile at her. And of course, Prunelia was just filled with joy. From a little nobody in the queen's tea garden to Princess Prunelia. And the queen had something to add. And so, my dear, that you will always keep working and spinning, because we know that makes you the happiest, I will bestow upon you the title of Sovereign Queen's Royal Spinner. Well, Prunella smiled weakly, And then her smile brightened up because a thought popped into her head, a plan. She thought, I'll just make those ladies do all the work for me. Well, I'm doing them a favor. They're the ones who like to spin. Oh, what a quick-witted girl am I. Oh, but I better remember my promise to them. And to the Queen she said, Your Majesty, I would like permission to invite my 3 aunts to my wedding. Well, the time flew by, and the day of the wedding arrived, and Prince Zoli and Princess Prunelia were husband and wife. And at the party later, in walked the 3 tiny sisters. Prunelia remembered her promise and said to the Queen, Your Majesty, may I present my aunts? This is Everleth and Overleth and Underleth. People there could see that the 3 looked very odd, and they were dressed oddly. But the prince was quite put off by them. He took Prunelia aside and said, Those women can't be their aunts, can they? And she thought, well, yes, and I'm very proud of them. Well, the prince couldn't contain himself. All he could think of was the relatives of his bride were ugly. Suddenly he forgot all his shyness, and he demanded of Everleth, Where did you get such a broad foot? It's gigantic. Oh, Prince, I got a big foot from pumping the spinning wheels, dear Prince. Oh, and you, why is your tongue so long and hanging out? Well, I'm the one who moistens the flax when it's ready to be spun, sweet Prince. Oh, and you, Mum, what happened that you got a thumb that big? Oh, I wind the thread. And then the prince thought a fearful thought. The foot, the tongue, the thumb. What if it happened to his dear Prunelia, his new bride? He broke down and sobbed and begged his mother not to let Prunelia ever go near a spinning wheel, ever. Of course, Prunelia smiled from ear to ear as the Queen listened to her son. Oh, very well, but we shall have to keep Prunelia working very hard to keep our little princess happy, because she just loves working hard. She's told me so many times. And what do you think? The Queen decided to keep Prunelia working hard and happy. You guessed it. Princess Prunelia was named the personal gardener to the Queen and keeper of the royal tea garden. Well, Prunelia certainly learned her lesson, didn't she? You know, telling fibs and being lazy is not the way to go. But the rewards of hard work, it can make you happy. This is Graham Tink saying bye-bye, and here's some pixie dust dreams for you.
If you want to have a great life, don't waste your time on lies. Do your very best every day. Look the world in the eyes. Don't be so lazy just lying around. It's your job to make life fun. Don't think it's over, it's just be fun.